Welcome to my midweek bonus gold episode of Real Women's Stories. And I'm saying that it's my bonus episode because in my previous episode, I interviewed the most amazing Lisa Hopper. She is a visionary life coach, and she's the founder of the UK School of Coaching and Self-Mastery. And Lisa has coached loads of top leaders and executives, personal coaching, and also coaching to help people like me who's a coach. So I just really wanted to delve into one of the topics that Lisa and I spoke about. And it was really about changing the narrative in our heads, like changing that story, because somehow throughout our lives, we have created the person that we are today, and we've created a story that we constantly tell ourselves. And one of those is kind of our self-worth. And that kind of filters itself out into our lives. So from a very young age, when we're innocent and we're babies, we're born without any preconceived ideas about the world and about how people feel or think towards us. You know, we just carry on and we learn to progress as babies and then as toddlers and then as children. And then at some point in our lives, something happens. It could just be this one tiny moment where someone could say something to us, and all of a sudden we feel this emotion that we've never felt before. And that emotion is a negative emotion. And that a negative emotion sits with us. And because it's alien and because we don't know it, we kind of hold on to it. Naturally, as human beings, that's what we do. So, you know, can you think about a time, take yourself back to when you were younger, maybe it was when you were at school and someone said something to you at school, or, you know, it might have been quite playful and it might have been very innocent, but that little comment could have sat with you and really made you kind of feel horrible, a feeling that wasn't quite right. It wasn't a happy feeling, it wasn't a nice feeling, but it was kind of an uncomfortable feeling. So when we then are in another situation, we suddenly look back, and if we have this feeling of self-doubt, it then becomes a kind of almost like a framework. Like if we're building a house, so we have these building blocks that build us up, and we then start creating this negative narrative, and we take it through our younger years and then into our young adult life. We've now built this structure. We've now created this story. And when we're in situations, we get this feeling of being judged. And those feelings then start bubbling up inside of us. And I genuinely believe that we've then created a real negative thought process and pattern. In coaching, we call it our ego. And I don't mean that as being, you know, I've got a big ego and I think I'm amazing and I'm wonderful, which I do think I am. And I should feel I am, because I should feel proud of things I've done. I'm talking about the negative ego that's in our head that starts telling us a story. So let me give you an example. If I go for a job interview, and if I'm sitting in that interview, and before I go into that interview, I'm feeling nervous and I'm feeling anxious because I suddenly think, am I not good enough? Am I going to be good enough for the role? And I'm reading through the job description again. I think, oh my God, I haven't done that. I don't know that part of the job. So how am I going to start feeling confident and start speaking confidently in the interview to get the job? That's just a story I've created. So how about we reset? And if I think about, I'm going to go into an interview and I've looked through the job description, and I'm going for the job because I know I can do it. How about we start thinking more positively? We start thinking about, who is it that I want to be in that interview? How do I want to show up? I know I've gone for the interview because I know that I'm interested in the job. If I'm interested in the job, it's because I've got a passion for something. If I've got a passion for something, there's something about that job that I know that I can do. It's within me. I can do it. So rather than feeling that scared person and that nervous person before I go into the interview, I can start thinking all about the positive things and the reason why I've gone for the job and the reason why I want the job and the reason why I'm passionate about the job. And then I start to go back through my life and think of all the good things that I've done and I've learned and that I've taught myself and that I've been taught by others. And there's a reason why I'm stepping up and out of the position that I'm in now and going into the next position for this new job. That, by the way, I might have to learn a few things, but because I'm not going to know everything, but I'm going to bring some of my skill set to that position. I just want to sit there with that for a little bit, because I'm sure there are situations in our lives and in your life, and I know I have had them in my life, where we haven't felt good enough, where we have thought of, could I do that? What would happen if I did that? What would happen if I wanted to start a new company? Or, like I said, I'm going for an interview for a new job, or I wanted to take up a new hobby, but I didn't feel comfortable. So let's think about how we've programmed our minds to think about the negative side of things and how then we can reprogram our minds to think about the positive sides. Because, it's the thought of the judgment from anyone else, but that's their judgment. That's not our judgment. Because if we hold a mirror up to ourselves and we look deep inside of ourselves and we actually really take a moment to look at all the good stuff that we've done in our lives and all the good stuff that we're good at and all the nice things and the good things that we've done for other people, that should take the judgment away, because we are looking deep inside our souls and we're knowing that we are capable of doing things, and we are capable and we do have self-belief, because there are things in our lives that we have done, that we have believed in, because you wouldn't be here today listening to this podcast if you hadn't learned something new and if you hadn't wanted to improve yourself. Life is about living, and life is about improving, and life is about learning, and life is about stepping forward and stepping into who we are. And it does take a lot sometimes in order to do that. And as a coach, this is the work that I do with my clients. And it's about changing our mindset and reframing how we think about ourselves. It doesn't happen overnight and it takes a lot of practice. So one of the things that I would do each day, this is just something that you can do, is just take 1 minute a day to look in the mirror and look into your eyes as if you are someone else looking at you, and think, if I was to describe me, what descriptive words would I use to describe this person looking in front of me? And I can guarantee you there will be positive words that will come out, and then write those words down. And each day, look in the mirror and spend 1 minute looking at yourself in the mirror and just taking that moment to then reflect on the descriptive words that you've used to describe yourself, and see if there's anything else that you can add to that. Now, things might have happened throughout your day that you've done positively that you can then add to that list. So let me give you an example. So I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling a bit low and a bit crap and I've got quite a heavy day, I can either walk into my day feeling negative and not feeling great about myself and not feeling confident and thinking, oh God, I've got these meetings and, you know, being in my menopausal state, am I going to perform well in my meetings? Am I going to be doing my pitch correctly? So then I take 1 minute to look in the mirror and I can say, Lisa, you did a fantastic pitch the other day. And from that pitch, you created a number of sales, which has brought in X amount of revenue for the company. And when I walked out of that meeting, how did I feel? I know that I performed well. So I'm good at my job. I'm good in front of people that I'm selling to. And I know that I can generate income from a company that I'm working for. So those are 3 kind of positive things that I'm doing. So then look at the descriptive words that we can use. I have self-belief. I'm intelligent. I am accurate in my knowledge base. I perform well. And I'm confident. And I have self-belief. So that's just an example of a practice that you could do that could set you on your journey to reframing how you think and feel about yourself. If you feel uncomfortable doing it and just looking in the mirror, then how about taking a glass of water? Just have a glass of water, and as you drink that glass of water, think about the positive descriptive words that you would use to describe yourself and some things that you have potentially done the day before that were positive or had a positive impact in your life or in someone else's life. If you can't think of something the day before, go back to the previous week. I guarantee you will find some gold. You will find some good stuff and positive stuff that you have done. It's kind of similar to the acknowledgements that we give ourselves, or if you were journaling or gratitude. It's really, it is a similar kind of structure to those techniques and to those practices that you can do. But I find that getting up, spending 1 minute a day, either looking at myself in the mirror, just taking a moment to think, and I'm looking at my reflection as if I'm going to be looking at a different person, because I have to detach myself from my negative ego and looking at myself in a positive way and thinking, I like this person. I think she's good at her job. Like I said, I can reflect back on a situation, a meeting that I did, a pitch that I did to a client, and then I can start writing things down, descriptive words after I've taken that moment to look at myself. Or if I don't like looking at myself and it feels a bit uncomfortable, as I said, take a glass of water, drink that glass of water and think as you're drinking that glass of water and as you're looking at yourself in the mirror drinking that glass of water, what are all the positive, good things that I've done either in the past week, in the past day, or in the past month? And then you can start going back further. You can even go back to your childhood, but it's important to write these down, write these words down, because somehow when we start writing them down and we start talking to ourselves in a different way, that narrative changes. The conversations that we start having within our own head, they start changing. We reframe them. We can then start turning the negative narrative into the positive narrative. I'm hoping that that practice does help you. I do think that we generally as a society have a big issue with the way that we speak to ourselves, especially as women. We've programmed ourselves throughout the year from young, and we really should start looking deep inside ourselves and acknowledging the good stuff we've done, understanding who we really are, and trying to change that negative way that we speak to ourselves. Because if we start with that, that is generally self-care as well. I would love to do this work with you. So if anybody is listening to this episode, and if anybody heard the episode with Lisa Hopper, which really there are some real pieces of gold there. And Lisa and I do uncover quite a lot and peel back the layers. But if you want to peel back your layers, if you would like to step forward in your life, to find some gold in what you have done in your life and then bring it forward into your life now, I would love to work with you. I have an email address where you can get in touch with me. It's TheRealStoriesPodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to work with me, if you would like me to help you move forward, please get in touch with me. You can also find me on my Instagram. There's lots of different episodes that you can listen to also for Real Women's Stories that might help you if you aren't in a position to have some coaching. But I'd love to give you a complimentary call. Just get in touch with me and then we can have a chat, because that's the first step you can take in making a positive change in your life. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Real Women's Stories. I hope you have a fantastic week. We've got more episodes coming up, so please stay tuned. Follow us, give us a rating, give us a review. And if you follow us, then you can hear me next time for my next episode of Real Women's Stories. Sister!